Okay, so now we would like to invite our group 1 to share the outcome of their discussion. So, Sister Kua.
Okay, can you? All right. So the first question, how does ignorance lead to wrong view and wrong view condition wrong thought? So, what is wrong thought or intention in Buddha's teaching? So from our group, we find that ignorance means that we do not know the Four Noble Truths. We are ignorant in many of our actions. So we do things that may lead to unwholesome action. And as a result, we may suffer more from this action. When people are ignorant, then they know they have wrong thoughts, which means that what they think is their view is correct, and they do not realize that actually they are looking at things wrongly. All right. So the ignorance is because we are ignorant because we do not know the teaching of Buddha and the true nature of life. Thus, we have the wrong view, and this will eventually influence our thoughts, our behavior, and our habits. So because of ignorance and not knowing, then we will develop unskillful and unwholesome quality and our attitude itself. Sometimes you may say things which hurt other people, etc. Or we may have we have many young people who do not believe in karma, so they do whatever they do, not realizing that it is actually what they are doing is actually wrong. All right, and so and then after that, you have the attachment to the wrong view, and usually more on associating to sensual pleasure and having ill will. All right, the second one, having learned about the Four Noble Truths, the second Noble Truth, what are the three kinds of cravings? So the three kinds of craving we have are sensual pleasure, existence that is craving for constant happiness, and we know that it is impermanent. We have fear of death, and then to continue hold on to fame, to power. And the other craving is craving for non-existence, where we do not want to have pain, we want to avoid suffering, not to be born in the lower realm. Yes, the impact. So we have to be more mindful of our action, okay? Because so we have to make sure that in our daily life, in our daily experience, we hold on to the precepts, make sure that we are not telling lies, not the 5 precepts are not to tell lies, not to kill, and to live an ethical life. So and to make sure that we are living ethical livelihood. All right. Then by having a right view instead of the wrong view, then we know the noble truth. So we'll be more careful and sensible in speech, thought, and action, and be more mindful in everything that we do, so that we can have a better life, because craving itself will affect our choice of livelihood. So if we are craving for more wealth, we may end up we may scam others, so that and we know that cheating is actually a wrong action. So by becoming a scammer, livelihood itself is also wrong. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Sister Ku. Now we go to the group 2. Group 2 is Sister PC group, is it?
Yes.
Okay, who is the presenter?
Okay, Sukihon to everyone. This is Sister Kwai Sim from Group 2. Question 1, how does ignorance lead to wrong view? And wrong view condition wrong thought. What is wrong thought or intention in the Buddha's teaching? Okay, we had a very nice, friendly discussion among ourselves. Okay, the first is ignorance is not seeing the world as it is. The person has no capacity for mental concentration and insight, and one's mind is left undeveloped, unable to grasp the true nature of things. Wrong thought or intentions are governed by desire, ill will, and harmfulness. I suppose basically it's about, if you're ignorant, then you're like a blind bat, hit or miss. And we are not focused on what is right, what is wholesome, what is skillful action or speech. Okay, then the next question 2, having learned about the 4 noble truths, especially the second noble truth, what are the 3 kinds of craving? And having known, does it make any impact to you? To your right thought, right speech, right bodily action, and right livelihood? If yes, how? If no, why? Okay, all of us are in agreement that yes, it does impact us, and then we are more mindful of our thought, of our speech, of our action. The second noble truth refers to the cause of suffering, and cravings, the 3 cravings refer to craving for sensual pleasure, craving for existence, and craving for non-existence. I think some they call it extermination. Okay. Yes, it will motivate us to act accordingly to the teaching of the Buddha. Especially, I think the minimum we need to do is to follow the 5 precepts. Okay, help us to take notice and become aware of our thought, our speech, our action, and at the same time, we restrain our urge or the greed, the 3 poisons that drive us to act in rather wholesome or unwholesome ways. But because we are now more mindful, then we tend to view things in a more skillful manner, and then as a result, we act in a more wholesome manner too. I guess that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Sim. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Sister Sim. So, okay, maybe please guys stop sharing that one. Yeah. So now I will share my screen. So sadhu to 2 groups. Everybody is doing very good in the presentation of what we have learned from the material that Sister Andrea shared with us. Okay, so now we go to the Q&A section. So we have come to the Q&A segment. So brother and sister, do you have any question for our Dhamma speaker or Ayya? Please raise your hand and turn on the microphone if you do. Q&A section.
Sorry, I can't find the hand, so can I just go for the first one?
Yes, can?
Yeah. I think our group has actually also raised these questions that even that we come to the Dhamma knowing about the suffering cessations But at time, and also of all this Eightfold Path, right? But at time, we are still cannot hold our anger, and we still have spontaneous actions. So the big question is, how then we can actually improve the applications into our this daily life.
All right. I think it's a good question. That also the purpose of that question for you all to contemplate as we learn about all the theoretical part of the teaching of the Buddha. So that's why the Buddha said, learning without practice is of no use. But I believe all of you are actually trying to put what you have learned into practice, yeah? And therefore, as I see that when you all discuss, you are reflecting, yeah, to what extent that I have been practicing, yeah? And I think the sharing is very good. That some of you give the thumbs up. Well, you have done well. Well, we are in work in progress, and well, we do know, and we are putting effort. Yeah. So I think that is a very good sign that at least it's not just listening and then forget totally about it. Yeah. So you are putting some effort. Now it's only that the effort. How much effort are we putting in? And I think it seems that discussion is every time comes or boils down to getting angry, yeah, getting angry or getting probably upset about things. Or sometimes the children will just drive us a bit too far, and then when we thought of even scolding them, then we hold back, and that is actually a practice. Means we restrain, yeah, from letting out unwholesome speech, yeah, or unwholesome action, yeah. Before it happens, then we know how to restrain. And restrain, of course, using many ways, yeah, to do it. So while learning to restrain, of course, that is a good effort, yeah. And it's just only that asking ourselves, continue, the more we do it, so then it becomes a very natural habit that we are not going to let go our anger, but we learn to restrain our mind from manifesting, yeah, into verbal unwholesome action or bodily unwholesome action. Yeah. So as long as we are aware that the mind, yeah, like Buddha said earlier, we have the discussion also. We said even the unwholesomeness, we must know the root of the unwholesome. Yeah. So I think the question that we raise always, why am I getting angry? So sometimes you can find, yeah, the underlying root, yeah, that you get angry is because sometimes because of the conceit I, you want this way, so you don't care, everybody have to follow your way, yeah. But if it doesn't fall your way, then you get angry, yeah. Or maybe for children, so of course, we give them some guidelines to do certain things, but if they don't follow, of course, sometimes we get upset. But sometimes as a parent, we still need to give them that kind of guidelines on wholesomeness. But it depends how we approach them. Like for example, like today, a parent asked me, yeah, the children, yeah. Sometimes we teach them certain things, and they go off the boundary. Then, of course, as a parents, we normally give instruction. Yeah? Do this, don't do that. Okay, that is the easiest way. Isn't it? Every parent will do that. Yeah. But then I also share with them this way that we can do is that helping them discover that what they are doing is unwholesome may make them at least equip themselves with that ability, and so they don't feel like they are being judged or being punished or being told off. Yeah. So I think every human have a different kind of what they call receptance over things. But I think the receptiveness also depend on how they perceive something. Yeah. So if we can help them to understand the situation, especially teenage nowadays, you cannot tell them. You tell them, they just show their black face and they just walk off, or they just keep quiet, yeah, and they don't talk. Some maybe they might argue with you, But the thing is, I think our part is to help them to discover that what they are doing or saying, it is actually leading them to some discomfort or harm, to others. I think in that way, then they may be able to accept better. So these are some of the ways and means that we can do to help oneself and to help others, to discover the way of the truth. When you say come to truth, it will help to calm down the person and help them to have good state of mind. So important to differentiate on this. Right? For one who want to practice, and yet we always face the challenges that come by, and so you need some skill. So that's why I share with the parents that you should develop, learn to develop and keep developing the way of question that help them to discover rather than tell them or instruct them. Sometimes you need this kind of approach or skills so that the person don't feel being pulled off or being put down or being judged. So these are some of the skills that we need to learn, so that we don't get angry, the other person also don't get angry. But at the end, then they get the proper way of understanding the situation and proper way of action. And one interesting thing that today also they share with me is this. They said the daughter was so generous because we teach them generosity, okay? And then suddenly she brought them to Penang temple, and then they're going to offer a robe. And on the way to the gate of the temple, there are 5 beggars there, auntie beggars there. And then the daughters told the mother, Mom, give each of them 50 ringgit. So the mother got shocked. So we teach our children to be generous, and suddenly the children told the mother, give each one 50 ringgit. So if you're a mother, what would you say? So I told her, no, we cannot keep like that, But then I said, after that, I feel very uneasy. We said, don't stop people from act of generosity. But being a child, they may not know. They may not know that yes, we need to give them according to our capacity. But then at that moment, how to explain to her? So then I told her, she asked me, so how? Yeah, because we teach them being generous. Now they want to be generous. And then suddenly we get shocked. Each one 50 ringgit, then 250. So how? Then, but she don't feel good either. Then I told her, actually, sometimes like situation like that, then we need to learn again how to answer in a good way and coach our children to do what is proper. Because she don't earn money, so she don't know how money comes about. She just want to be generous. But if we shut them off, next time they may not perform that kind of act of generosity. So I said, simple thing, you just ask them. I said, okay, suppose we have 5 apples and now we have 5 aunties. How would you distribute? Then the child, of course, will say, okay, I will give each auntie 1 apple, okay? Then now, if suppose we have only 1 apple, how are we going to distribute to them? Then let them think. So they may think, oh, then if I give to 1 auntie, 4 auntie don't have. So how? Then let the child think. They may think, oh, we cut the apple into 5 pieces, so every auntie also will get 1, right? So then we give them the idea of, the capacity that we have, and everybody still get the share, and both are doing good, So because instead of saying, hey, cannot give 50 ringgit, so then we feel like you show like we are like not generous, So in that situation, how are we going to share with our children, On one hand, we teach them good. On the other hand, then we also have to teach them the skill, So these are ongoing kind of learning and practicing. So like I say, in facing anger, also the same. I think the song I heard some others say, well, we can always tell our children, sometimes they become like too, I would say, you say one word, the fellow say another word, and then they start yelling or shouting. So as parents, I think to be in charge, because if you walk away and keep silent, sometimes it doesn't end up in a good way. So as parents, we still are in charge. So the best is just tell them, when you are calm, then we talk. Yeah. Instead of telling them, I mean, yeah, one of the ways sometimes you may share your expression, say, now I'm angry, yeah, so you better punch, or else after I burst. Yeah. So we are actually telling them when we're angry, but anger actually doesn't lead to good. Yeah. So sometimes they will say, hey, don't make mommy angry, yeah. Don't make mommy, whenever you get angry, so it's not a very wholesome thing to their mind. So what you can always say is that instead of putting it on yourself that you cannot control yourself anymore, you can actually tell the children, okay, when you are calm, because sometimes they yell or they really make noise or whatever, then you just tell them, when you are calm, then I will talk to you. Yeah, so it means we are telling them they also need to be calm, then only we discuss about things. Yeah. So, but of course, when children, let's say they are playing and then they go off boundary, then of course, you may also set certain structural boundary for them, or, talk to them on certain things before they start to go a bit off boundary. Yeah? So there are a few ways and means, and sometimes before that happen, you preempt them already. And sometimes during, then sometimes some people, they don't even have to say anything. Just look at the children, then the children will pause. Yeah. So it depends on how you approach them and how receptive they are to certain maybe instruction or certain guide, how you can help them to explore that they should not do that way. Yeah? So I hope this help to overcome that anger. But there are many ways, like I said, for example, the last time their parents a bit dementia or senile, they do all sorts of things, like even take that sheet and then rub on the fridge and all those things. Yeah. So are you going to get angry with them? At the beginning, you may feel very, very angry. Yeah. But sometimes when they see their mind already are not in place. Yeah. So no point getting angry. But maybe you can have some structural control or, preventing certain things from happening. So you can prepare certain things to help them there. Maybe confine them into a certain area that they cannot, let's say, open the fridge or whatever. So that kind of things we can help to avoid that kind of anger from arising. So it means we set up some areas or, comfortable for them, and then they don't have to venture into territory that might make a lot of challenges to others. For example, I heard the mother sometimes will put soup powder into the drink of the dog, and many kinds of action, and even the mother is sick and she tried to attend to her, she got kicked. So many kinds of challenges sometimes we face, whether with the elderly people or with the children. But I think at the end of the day, we just have to understand some knowledge, some skill, how to handle certain people, in different way. But at the end of the day, I still remember that first she thought of sending the mother to the old folks home because she find that she no longer able to take care. I said, in your state at now, I say you should not, because if you send, you will regret for life. Then she followed the advice. She kept the mother, and instead of getting upset, all those things, and finally she can able to calm down her mind and attend to the mother according to whatever that is needed. And at the end of the life of the mother, at least when the mother passed away, she was around 1 month before. Then the mother character changed again for better. And so when the mother passed away, at least you don't feel that so much guilt and remorse. So these are time, sometimes challenging, but I think if we apply the right view, then we can actually have right thought, and the right thought will consist the metta, and so compassion. So we not only we say, oh, we have to be compassionate, but we must learn the way how to do it, the skill, and so then we'll be able to face it more easily and without harboring anger, right?
Yeah, I think I skipped one section. Which is your slide? Need to share. Sorry, Today first day host, sorry, Suppose Ayya, you share your slide, then after that we Q&A lah. But just now Kai asked the question already.
I think it's okay because of this session on the Noble Eightfold Path. As you can see, I'm trying to approach it in a different way, yeah. Because most of the time you will learn all the theoretical part about it, So I'm also giving you the sutta that Andrew sent to you all, because I hope to approach this Noble Eightfold Path with a more grounded understanding. So I put up a lot of this sutta that keep pondering about right view, yeah. Because without right view, all our intention may go wrong, yeah. So so far, I think if you are aware, you can see that the view that we are talking about, yeah, from very beginning, I introduced to you all about the Pariyesana Sutta, remember? And from that sutta, we talk about the noble search, yeah, because as the Buddha has reflected, yeah, so the noble search is the search for something that is unborn, yeah, unailing, and then, you know, unaging, and also deathless, and sorrowless, and free from bondage. So that is the search in life. That is what the Buddha searched for. And therefore, of course, to his search, he discovered the way, how to end this. Why suffering? Why suffering? How suffering ends? Yeah, because all of us also suffer, but we never question this. Yeah, we suffer and then we feel the pain, and then we say maybe that's life, right? But actually, it's not true. Yeah, life actually, according to Buddha, you know, why we experience suffering is because we're ignorant. Yeah, we do not know. And I think all of you also have the answer. We say, no, we do not know, just do not know. Not do not know anything, yeah. But the key thing is we do not know the truth, yeah, the noble truth, yeah. And so because of that, that's why the Buddha said these are unheard before, yeah. But in our time, we heard it over and over again, right? Yeah, this Four Noble Truth, yeah. And so this particular truth, we said truth, yeah, because it is not an opinion or view, it's the truth, yeah. The truth that as we experience life, yeah, then we look back, you know, what causes suffering, yeah. So we can observe, yeah, we can observe through our life, and without this right view, means knowing the truth, or the understanding about this truth, then of course more suffering will come. But with the understanding of this truth, then we will be able to gradually overcome those suffering that arises in our life. And I have introduced you, actually the first part is dependent origination, yeah. So last week we have just, because it's very detailed, yeah, I say in such a short session we will be able, but I hope you all do read, yeah, because from there then you can try to understand already. When you talk about right view, you know, the perspective of it is, first the Buddha talks about dependent origination, yeah? How this suffering arises and how suffering ends. Yeah, first there are two kinds of ignorance. Yeah, one, we really do not know, and many people do not know. Yeah, they thought suffering. Some may think, because you know, God has what they call predestined us with this package. Yeah, so we suffer accordingly lah. And then either the other one is we suffer because it's our karma lah, we cannot change. Yeah, and others will think, you know, we suffer by chance lah. You know, it happened lah. You know, sometimes it happens, sometimes it don't happen. So these are the people who think everything come like by chance only lah. You know, and some say, you know, we may suffer now, but when we die already, we won't suffer already. Yeah, so there are also different belief about this. But the key thing is that Buddha say, this life that we went through of suffering is because we do not know. We do not know, and we do not know the noble truth. Yeah, noble truth. Why is it noble? Because this truth cannot be challenged one. If people challenge this truth, then it means they are holding wrong view. Yeah, and this truth is how the law works. Yeah, towards well-being, towards the end of suffering, and so therefore is called noble truth. Yeah, and this noble truth is not invented by the Buddha; it's discovered by the Buddha. Yeah, and and this truth is the truth that leads to the end of suffering. Yeah, and why? Because we need to understand. Yeah, and understand, we say, the Four Noble Truths. Yeah, but then earlier we talked about the dependent origination, and you can see the dependent origination have 12 links. Yeah, and these 12 links, halfway you will see the what they call the cross section between the understanding. Like for example, it said due to ignorance, then mental volition starts. And due to mental volition, then consciousness, yeah, condition consciousness. Then consciousness will condition mind and matter, or materiality and mentality. So it means these are the process that's in making. And because of that, then it will condition the six sense base, yeah, and the eye, ear, nose, yeah. So if you can imagine a baby, yeah, that is in formation, you can see this process, yeah, and then from the six sense bases, then it's fully developed, then it will condition contact. Yeah? Then contact will condition feeling. Feeling will condition craving. Craving will condition clinging. Yeah? Clinging will condition becoming. And becoming condition birth. Yeah? And then when there's birth, then again you go through aging, sickness, and death. Yeah? So you can see that link, yeah? And in order to, because of this, then the Buddha said the mass of suffering arises. Yeah? So how we want to end that mass of suffering? Then is through wisdom. Yeah? Again, I say wisdom about what? About Four Noble Truth. Yeah? So with this understanding of Four Noble Truth, we know there are four factors. Number one, what is the Noble Truth? Yeah? What is the first truth? The first truth is talking about that there is dukkha, means there is suffering. We have to acknowledge that there is suffering. Not only we must know there is suffering, we must fully, we ought to understand it. Yeah. If we say, oh, there is suffering, there's suffering, and we do not try to understand the suffering, then of course we will get into suffering state. Yeah, because we do not know fully what it is. Because if, for example, if you're burned with a fire before, would you like to touch the fire again? You won't, because you learn, yeah, you understand that, oh, fire is dangerous, yeah, and maybe for cooking is okay, yeah, but to burn the hand, of course, it's not all right, yeah. So you learn, yeah, and you fully learn already, because why? You got burned before, right? But do we need to get burned only to learn? We don't have to, yeah, because by understanding the nature of fire that can burn, can harm, we don't have to put our hand there, right? Unless it's accidentally, yeah. And so in this way too, the Buddha said you have to understand there is suffering, and you ought to know, or ought to understand there is suffering, and you have to fully understood, yeah, there is suffering, yeah. So when you have that in mind, then the other process is that what caused it. Just how we say, the application. When you get angry, you ask yourself, why am I getting angry? Okay? So there's a cause behind that one. Why am I angry? Angry because I want this way and they do the other way. Or because if they do that way, then it doesn't give me face. Okay? So, or when they do that way, they may cause me some losses. Yeah. Or because your expectation is your greed lah. Yeah. And it doesn't match your expectation. So when you ask yourself, then you will start to understand that behind that is there's cause a craving. Right? Sometimes you go out to eat, yeah, you recommend certain food, then your children don't want to eat that. Yeah. So sensual pleasure. So you have different kind of pleasure. Your children have different kind of pleasure. Why? Because you teach them wrongly. Every time, last time you always bring them out. You say, "What do you like?" Yeah. So they like what they like lah. You know, they like to eat ice cream lah, those crispy things lah. That is your fault. You see, you ask them, "What do you like?" Ma? So then of course they tell you lah what they like. Yeah. And then after that, you say, "No, no, no, no. You should not ask for this." Right? Then they will be thinking, "You ask me what I like. Then now I tell you what I like." You say no. Then very contradicting, right? So the best is don't ask them what do you like. And as parents, I think we have to be wise. Bring them to somewhere, a mixed kind of healthy food, you know, and recommend to them, yeah, introduce to them in a good way, yeah. I always advise parents and teachers, yeah, don't keep asking, yeah, the students, what do you like, yeah, because when you ask them what do you like, they may not like what is good, you know. True or not? Yeah. And then after asking, if you don't give them, then they become angry because now they have dislike. Yeah. So these two words are very dangerous. And all these are based on desire, the Buddha said. And because they have been perceiving about it, they have been thinking about it, and therefore it will create what they call arguments, and after that, because of that, you know, a nice luncheon become an angry luncheon, yeah, because somebody like you don't give, somebody don't like you give, yeah. So we train them from young to understand the functional things and the proper things of, let's say, food and all those things. Introduce them correctly, yeah, and guide them properly. So in this way, like we say, application, the cause of suffering, all of us know, yeah, craving for sensual pleasure, yeah, and then craving for existence, you know. You see your children, when they're very young, you know, we ask them, what do you like to be? I always say, some say, I like to be like mommy, I would like to be like daddy, yeah. Then later, when they go to schools, then they don't like to be like you already. They want to be like somebody else already, like teacher lah, like their friends lah, or you know, something that they expand their being, not only to what they see in front of them anymore. And then when they're teenage, they want to be themselves, right? They want to be unique with their style, and they like to follow those icon of pop culture, yeah. And so they don't want to be like mommy or daddy or teacher already. They want to be like all those famous movie star or singer or dancer, you know. That is the time, yeah. So they want to be, yeah, being somebody else. And of course, when they grow up a bit, then they will look at just now also this morning, very interesting, the ARK children. And I asked, you know, when a person always get angry and lost temper, what will happen to them? Then the girl said, oh, then nobody like them. And then after that, they cannot get boyfriend, and then they cannot get married. Yeah, even as a children, they see the consequences. Yeah. So being, yeah, so young, they already think that way. Yeah. And so we like to be, yeah. So very unconsciously, being boyfriend, girlfriend, and being a husband, wife, being a professional. And then when we grow old, we want to be a dato or nene, yeah. And so, you know, we have this in mind. And after one pass away, we want to be in different realm, of course, higher realm, good realm, yeah. So you see, we still have that tendency for existence, yeah. So that's why many times when you ask, well, how many would like to realize Nibbana, very few hands come out. Very few hands, because they can't comprehend and understand. Because Nibbana, they say nothing there. So nothing there must be boring. Yeah. So they don't know how free is that. Yeah. So that perception, yeah, is based on the I. Yeah. So this craving, you say, craving existent, then craving for non-existent. Yeah. Most people, when they get their things, they will say, oh, life is good. Yeah. When they don't get their things, then they say life is bad. Actually, it's not about the life. Yeah. It's about how we perceive things and how we train the mind, yeah, to that state that is able to achieve that kind of internal happiness, internal freedom. Yeah. And so some people, we heard that, I mean, of course, day by day nowadays, we heard about suicide. Yeah. People who are very depressed and suicide. There are more, and even very young teenage or children also. They find very stressed and depressed, and sometimes they cannot handle. They can't deal with their mind, and therefore they think that is the way to overcome their suffering. So the meaning of non-existent, that is also a kind of craving for non-existent, because they cannot stand craving, and they cannot stand their suffering due to that. And some, like, like people are sick, and they cannot stand with their sickness, so they want to end their life. Yeah. So in the past, everybody go through life quite naturally, and life also quite naturally. Yeah. It's just like people say you have choice or you don't have choice. Yeah. It's your karmic span. But now people, some will opt for certain things, which may sometimes be harmful to them too, because when they end their life in a tragic way, yeah, what kind of mental state would they have? It's even worse than when they are alive. Yeah. So these are the things sometimes we have to also advise some people. Yeah. So we know that craving, and the Buddha said, not only we should know this craving cause suffering, yeah, but we should also put in place the practice of what? Eradicating, yeah, eradicating the cause of suffering. So I have passed you some articles, yeah, and so without having right view, then we don't have right intention, yeah. So that right view is very important, and so by understanding that, not only we have to know, oh yes, craving is leading to suffering, but we have to make effort to eradicate craving. But how to eradicate? It's not that difficult, isn't it? We say, what is causing suffering? We say craving. Craving for what? Craving for sensual pleasure. So can we cut down sensual pleasure? Last time maybe we stay until midnight to follow Korean movie until 12:30, 1 o'clock. Now we cut down, yeah, and so we don't spend time to do that anymore. So you get better sleep, and then when you get better sleep, and then you have a better state of mind, yeah, so you can do things more correctly, yeah, and perform better. So sensual pleasure, that one is eye pleasure, right? Watching movie, let's say, or ear pleasure. Yeah, so when they cut down, that means eradicate that craving for sensual pleasure, then naturally you gain some wholesomeness in your time, in your activity. So once you cut down the unwholesome, you already gain some good part of the wholesomeness that is happening. Yeah. So then, other than that, from becoming, yeah, being, yeah. So this also we have to understand that the body go through process of, yeah, birth and then aging and death. Yeah. And so we have to keep in mind, and that can come anytime. Yeah. So what we are now is actually very fortunate, because we still have our six senses intact. We still can think and ponder. And so there's an urgency, yeah, we call it samvega, spiritual urgency to, like I said, yes, I am practicing, work in progress, but how fast? I say you want to go Penang, how fast you want to reach Penang? And that needs your effort. Yeah. So if you say, okay, I'm going to spend some price in getting a flight ticket, maybe I can go there very fast, I reach there, right? You fly there, it means the effort every day, every moment you're practicing it. And so you are saying only I'm walking to Penang, then of course it takes you some days to reach there. Not saying you cannot reach, you still can reach there, but we have to bear in mind that that journey, yeah, how long in our life, when we have an opportunity, we have to make effort to quickly do it, yeah, because time waits for no one, and so we have to make the right effort to do so. So in order to what they call overcome suffering, we need to eradicate, eradicate the cause of suffering. So means eradicate craving. Craving is the one that causes suffering. So when you eradicate craving, then naturally the suffering will reduce. And then the cessation of it, the Buddha said, is just the giving up, relinquishment, and letting go the craving. So again, it comes back to craving. And we also know in the dependent origination, the Buddha also talked about how does clinging ends. Is clinging, when clinging ends, is because when your craving ends, then no more clinging. So, and then it goes back, how craving can be ended, because feeling end. So like that. So that chain goes round, and it can be unwind in different way. So most of us, we have clinging for sensual pleasure. Again, you see the sensual pleasure will come in. Clinging for sensual pleasure. Then clinging for what more? Rites and rituals. Thinking that certain rites and ritual will lead us to good state or heavenly state. But sometimes it's not true. And clinging for what? Some more views. Many kind of different views. That we think is correct, but actually it's not true. And another clinging is to clinging the self-view, clinging that there's an I in us, so that is also another clinging. But this clinging stems from craving again, and craving comes from feeling, because feeling good, you want more, you crave for more. Feeling not good, you crave to become aversion, you crave to push it away. So that link again come again. So you can see even dependent origination, Four Noble Truth, we are talking the same thing. So that Four Noble Truth is very straightforward, telling you there is suffering, you ought to understand there is suffering, that you practice until you understood suffering. Second, you know the cause of suffering, there is a cause of suffering, you ought to eradicate the cause of suffering, and you fully eradicated the cause of suffering. And third, then cessation of suffering. There is an end one to suffering. You must have confidence with that. And sometimes you may think, last time my friend said, hey, you must practice in this life. I said, maybe next life lah. So we tend to procrastinate our good aspiration, thinking that next life I can do better. But if this life we cannot really put our diligence, what do you think next life? Maybe forgotten already, right? So don't wait for next life. So then my friend, why not this life? Then I ponder, why not this life? Why must I wait next life? Because I don't know what is next, is it? Now I know what I am, but next I don't know. So I better put my effort now. So cessation is possible. And the Buddha shown us. So there's an end, to suffering, and we ought, to realize the end. Means we ought to practice and realize it. And there's also, we must fully understand or fully realize, the cessation of suffering. So how to do it? Very simple. The Buddha said, just give up, let go, relinquish craving. So and that is how it can be achieved. How to do it? Then Buddha give you formula again, Noble Eightfold Path. Then it comes to right view again. And what is right view? Four Noble Truth. What is right view? Then dependent origination. What is right view? The article that I introduced to you all, you also read, right? What is right view, right? So right view also can be seen in different contexts, which involve the context of the way of practice, like for example, virtue, like the Buddha talks about giving, sacrifice, offering, and also the right view about this world, this another world, means the understanding that our life is not about this world only, this time only. There are connections, between the past and the future too. And the Buddha also talked about spontaneous birth. There are beings that are spontaneously born, and they are also he put there. There is mother, there's father, because they are believed that we are not connected. So that's not true. So the Buddha also give that specification, and the Buddha also say there's also contemplative, or those ascetics that have actually attained to the state of arahant, and so one who has right view would actually understand this, and know that there is such kind of attainment, So these are also called right view, And this right view, according to the Buddha, is you have to come with this right view first. Without this right view, then you will go to wrong view. Then what other things that the aspect that the Buddha talks about right view? The Buddha talks about right view, that is two aspects, of right view. And what are the aspects of the right view? One is right view that actually ripening in acquisition, and also marriage. The other right view is, which, if being practiced, is a noble way that develop the path to arahantship. So right view consists of two sort of right view. So like, let's say a person, as a lay person, we practice, we take refuge in the triple gem, we practice the 5 precepts, and we follow the noble eightfold path. But of course, as a lay person, we are working, we are earning our salaries, or doing business. We still can actually acquire those things. But this is, according to the Buddha, it's also right view. But this right view is tamed by seeking for, let's say, marriage, and ripening in acquisition. Means you earn righteously, but it is not the noble right view yet, because as you perform the good deeds, in the mind we are seeking to gain, but you gain it righteously, meaning you practice the 5 precepts well, you practice right livelihood, and but in your mental state, you are seeking to gain, So what is the difference between the noble right view? The noble right view is where you practice without looking at the gain in terms of material things, or fame, name, and all those things, but it's purely to develop the path and function that leads you to liberation. So that is a noble right view. So these are the difference. So as a person that practice, so the Buddha of course encourage one to lead to this noble right view at the end. So this is also another aspect of right view that the Buddha encourages us to do. And through this, then we can understand that not only we have to have right view in terms of understanding the dependent origination and abandon the craving, but also the right view that comes from the Four Noble Truths. And we are talking about abandoning again craving, at the end. And then this one through the sutta on the Great 40. Then we also understand the way of right view that we should practice. That is, of course, through the virtue, and also to understanding that there is the attainment that some contemplative can attain and liberate themselves. And so that we have this confidence to practice those virtuous qualities, and also the noble way to attain it. So even if we are working, we are earning, of course, righteously, that is also a way of right view. If we follow and we have confidence in Triple Gem, we have been practicing 5 precepts well, and follow the Noble Eightfold Path, and practice the 4 Brahma Vihara. So this is also a kind of right view that we can practice, that lead us a good life, or a life that helps us to have a little more time to develop further. But that is not a noble right view yet. Yeah, a noble right view is very committed to develop the path and fruition for enlightenment or liberation. Yeah, so of course it's of a choice, and how far you want to go, how much you want to practice, that will depend. And the fastest, the earliest, of course, is the better, right? So through right view, then again, it will lead you to right intention. Yeah. So this right view that verse said, you have to know that if you understand wrong view as wrong view and right view as right view, and this is one's right view. You must know, which one right view, which one wrong view. That is number one. Yeah. And having known, then of course you are establishing right view. And so in summary, the sutta that we passed to you, MN 117. So the Buddha said, right view have to come first, because if a person have wrong view, then they may think, there's nothing given, nothing offered, nothing sacrificed. There's no fruit or result of good or bad actions. No this world, no other world, no mother, no father, no beings who are born spontaneously, reborn spontaneously. No good and virtuous recluses and Brahmins in the world who have realized for themselves by direct knowledge and declare this world and the other world. So this is wrong view. So if a person know wrong view as wrong view, then they are having right view. If a person know right view as right view, then they are having right view. Yeah. So then what is a right view? Yeah. Right view got twofold. There's right view that's affected by taints, partaking of merits, ripening in acquisition. Yeah. So there are also right view that is noble, taintless, supramundane, a factor of the path. Yeah. So that's how I have explained. So right view of affected by taints, partaking of merits, ripening in the acquisitions. What are they? They are what is given, means doing dana, what is given, what is offered, and what is sacrificed. You work for whatever reason you offer, whether to the sangha, to your family, to your children, all those. These are affected by things because you have certain interest in them. Right? For parents, sometimes we give them education so much because we expect them to be someone, yeah. And so that kind of a right view to give them let's say a career or whatever, that's fine. But then affected by things, yeah, by your interest or motive and all those things, of course it also yield result. But then that will also affect you in case that expectation doesn't meet your what do you call it, doesn't meet your expectation, then you feel disappointed. Yeah. But then here also the Buddha said, the right view affected by things also, you may have like there's fruit and result of good and bad actions. And these are all understanding that, for example, we say, we do good, then we will go to heaven. Yeah. So, because of wanting to go heaven, then we do good. Not because we know that good is good, yeah, but because we want something else, then we perform the good deeds. Some maybe they perform dana. They say, okay, I perform more dana, then I will get more things. Yeah? Sometimes they have this kind of thoughts, yeah. And so they are also understanding about how beings are born, properly, so that we know that there are 4 kinds of birth: that birth to womb, birth to eggs, birth to moisture, or a spontaneous birth. Yeah, means when they pass away here, already they go to another realm. Yeah, they are such kind of birth. And so the Buddha also mentioned, when one have a right view, they also have the understanding there are in the world good and virtuous recluses and Brahmins who have realized for themselves by direct knowledge and declare this world and the other world. So they have this kind of knowledge And this is those who have right view but taint with some interest in marriage and acquisition. So what is the right view that is noble? Yeah? That is thinness, supramundane, a factor of the path. So the Buddha mentioned the wisdom, the faculty of wisdom, the power of wisdom, the investigation of states of enlightenment factor. So the 7 factors of enlightenment. The path factor of right view in one whose mind is noble, whose mind is tameless, who possesses the noble path and is developing the noble path. This is right view that is noble, tameless, supramundane, a factor of the path. So this kind of right view is actually, when we talk about it, is already Sotapanna. Yeah? Yeah? When they attain the state of Sotapanna, then we say they have possessed the noble Eightfold Path. They have their view are right now, because that is where they start to understood there's non-self, and the way they lead their life will follow the noble Eightfold Path. Yeah? So one makes an effort to abandon wrong view and to enter upon right view. So you must make effort, yeah, to abandon wrong view and enter upon right view. So this is one's right effort. So mindfulness, or mindfully one abandons wrong view, mindfully one enters upon and abides in right view. So you have to also mindfully abandon wrong view. Yeah, because of that, then you can enter and abide in right view. Okay, so this is right mindfulness. So these are things that are important. The Buddha said, circle around. If you practice correctly, then right view, right effort, right mindfulness come together. Yeah. So how does it relate to our intention, our thoughts? Yeah, from here. So the Buddha mentioned, that's why right view have to come first. Without that right view, then you won't have right intention. So one who understands wrong intention as wrong intention and right intention as right intention, this is one's right view. You see the point? We talk about right view, but now how does it impact intention? So having understand wrong intention as wrong intention, right intention as right intention is right view. Yeah. So what are wrong intention? Intention of sensual desires, intention of ill will, intention of cruelty. So in this one, you can reflect, yeah, to your state of mind. When you are craving for something, you're angry at something, or you have the tendency, to be cruel. Then you know that that intention is wrong. So of course you don't pursue, yeah. So there are also intention, like I say, affected by pains, partaking of marriage, and ripening in acquisition. There are also intention that is noble, taintless, supramundane, and a factor of the path. So what is the intention that is affected by things? Then the Buddha said is actually the intention of renunciation, the intention of non-ill will, and the intention of non-cruelty. So again here, renounce of what? Renounce sensual pleasure. Right? I think non-ill will, you all can understand, don't get angry. Non-cruelty, be compassionate, not too cruel in our thoughts. Yeah. And next, the Buddha said, what bhikkhus is right intention that is noble? Yeah, means there are twofold. Yeah. One, just now, the one that will be partaking of marriage, ripening in acquisition. The other one is right intention that is noble, taintless, supramundane, a factor of the path. So the thinking, thought, intention, mental absorption, mental fixity, directing of mind, verbal formation, in one whose mind is noble, whose mind is taintless, who possesses the noble path and is developing the noble path. This is right intention that is noble, a factor of the path. Twofold, and with this right intention, meaning on one end, which actually still seeking marriage, is also intention to renounce, intention for non-ill will, and intention non-cruelty. The noble one is the way the thinking, the thought, intention, mental absorption is jhana, yeah? And also the concentration, and know how to direct the mind, yeah? And the formation of the thoughts and speech. Yeah? So this is stainless, and they possess the noble path and is developing the noble path. So these are intention that is noble. So of course the sutta goes on, and one have to abandon a wrong intention and enter upon right intention. And how you do it? Mindfulness again. Yeah. So through mindfulness, you can help yourself to do so. So these three states, they run in circle again, like right intention. If you want to have this right intention, then you also have to have right view, right effort, right mindfulness. Right? So through this way, we say that there are more that we can practice by understanding how right view affect right intention, and right intention affect your speech and also your bodily action. Right? So today, again, I'd just like to highlight this perspective, the importance of that right view, so that you can have more wider scope that what covers right view and how right view condition all your other factors, so that from right view, then you have right intention and right speech. So we don't have to waste time, a lot of time spent with wrong view and then wrong intention, and then at the end culminate in all the wrong things. And so time pass, but then we don't gain that kind of good state of mind, because from very beginning we do not know what is right view. So hopefully that through the discussion you have better idea, better understanding, and you can continue your work in progress. Yeah, like the Buddha said. Because of that, then we learn to abandon the wrong one and then enter into the right one, and you must make effort to do so, and also mindfulness, in check, so that you're on track, and so you can keep applying the right view in the course of your daily application, and I think then will help you to lead to a good state of mind and freedom, right? So I think I will stop here for any question that you have.
Brother and sister, we have a little bit time only, so we only can take one question. Any question? You can raise up your hands. Any question? Okay, Sister Samly, you unmute.
Thank you, Ayya, for the Dhamma talk. I have a question for about the right view. Can feelings, maybe it's a bad feeling, can that be an indication whether the view that we have is right or wrong?
Feelings,
Like feeling angry, feeling hatred, something is not right, feeling dissatisfied.
Oh, of course. In the beginning, you remember we have shared on the how feeling leads to craving, craving leads to clinging, right? And we know that there are three kinds of feelings. But when we say feelings, pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, or neutral feeling, but also at the same time, when you say feeling angry, so if you look at the right view, so right view is a view that we say wholesome. Wholesome. What are the wholesome part of this right view? There are 3 of the body, 4 of the speech, and 3 of the mind. Yeah. So 3 of the body, the non-killing, right? Taking things not given, and then the avoiding sexual misconduct, right? So the 4 of speech is truthful speech, speech that is in harmony, speech that is pleasant, and speech that is beneficial. Yeah, and so these are wholesome one. And then the next one is for the mind. Yeah, so the first one is non-covetousness. Second one is non-ill will. Then non-wrong view. So these are of the mental state. So when I say if you're feeling angry, so you already can see which category are you putting them in. So when a person is angry, then we say, not only you have to know that wholesome or unwholesome, they are root to their wholesomeness and they are root to their unwholesomeness. So you look back behind there. So what is the root for that action that you are doing? Yeah, and you can see behind that means the intention. Yeah, the intention behind, if it's subject to greed, hatred, delusion, then you know it's unwholesome. Yeah, if non-greed, non-hatred, non-delusion, that is wholesome. But when it's even very slight, yeah, that you experience, let's say hatred, you know that is unwholesome. Yeah, so feeling, let's say, not feeling good, already tell you not feeling good. Yeah, so it means it's actually more to the unwholesome side of it. Yeah, so that root, yeah, that cause the unwholesomeness, the moment we can detect them, of course, we need to abandon them. Yeah, because if not, then it will condition more unwholesomeness to come up. Okay? So you can actually identify, yeah, feeling angry, feeling upset, feeling down, and all this. So those are not a wholesome state of mind. It brings the mind down. Yeah? So we learn to abandon them. Yeah? So I think also I provide you all the Sutta Vitakka Sutta, that when you have unwholesome thoughts, yeah, or a lot of thoughts running in the mind, there are steps that you can do to help overcome those thoughts, yeah, whether it's a negative thoughts or thoughts that disturb you or too many thoughts. You can make use of that method to overcoming discursive thoughts. Some methods. Then of course you can use meditation also to do that. Yeah. Okay, I hope that I answer your question.
Yeah, thank you, Ayya.
Bhikkhuni Sumangala, I just want to ask you, just want me to say the speech, the pleasant speech, beneficial speech, harmonious speech, and another one is what speech?
Truthful speech.
Good speech.
Truthful.
Oh, truthful speech. And then that another one that was a non-ill will,
non-greed, non-greed. But they use in English, some they put covetousness. Covetousness is that every time when we see something, yeah, whether through our eyes, ear, nose, tongue, or body, whenever we think of something, we want it to belong to us already. That's why when we say, when you go window shopping, you end up don't know how many things back home, you know, because the moment you see, you say you want it, you want to belong to you already. So that is part of covetousness.
Or covetousness, that is greed also greed
Yes.
Then ill will, and the last one is
wrong view.
Or wrong view, or wrong ill will and wrong view.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Bhikkhu, have a nice day. Bye.
All right.
Yeah, I think Sister Puisi have question. Last question.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Sister. Just now, Sister Sam Lee question makes me thought about another situation of whether this situation is right view when you know, when we was fighting for equality, and when something doesn't, when the situation we are in that is what do you call that, like unfair to us, so we sometimes we come up with anger, and to the feeling to make it right seems very strong, but the anger comes about because of the feeling of unfairness and inequality over there. But the feeling to make it right is also very strong. So it feels like a right intention to do. So is it really a right view in this kind of situation?
Well, I said you have the formula of the right view already in hand. right? What the Buddha mentioned, dependent origination, Four Noble Truth, the virtues, and then the understanding of offering and giving, and the twofold of right view, yeah. And sometimes I say the intention is good, but the execution may not be as pure, yeah. Because sometimes the intention is good, but then to get there, then you have to do something that is not actually following the right view, right? And so we have to again reflect, because why? What is the latent tendency behind? I will say, wholesome, unwholesome. There are root to wholesomeness and root to unwholesomeness. So again, you check to the back, yeah, intention. Is that wholesome? If it's wholesome, then find knowledge and skill to pursue, but it has to be timely too, yeah. But if we say, okay, the intention maybe at the beginning is good, but the execution have to go through unwholesomeness, then you have to think twice, right? So we say equality. Sometimes we have to also question, you know, a lot of time nowadays people say, you know, everything must be equal. But have you ever questioned, is the world really equal? Right? May not, you know. So it can be even in our country or in our home or whatever, it cannot be equal. Yeah. Only thing, I think 4 requisites, everybody needs it. But other than that, yeah, we can see that if the virtue, I think it's good to have that kind of virtue. But other than that, like you said, people are born with different inclination, different, even size also different, feature also different. So many things are different, yeah. And so, but sometimes conventionally, we think that it should be equal. Like for example, now people fight for equal right also for animals, you know? Right? So is it equal? Yeah. So we have to look at what is the main thing that is coming in front of us, yeah. And but if we see the intention is good, execution is good, and probably we need a little bit of skill and knowledge, or certain not unwholesome connection, but wholesome connection to make that wholesome thing happen. So that is still fine, yeah, as a right view, because your what do you call, execution is a wholesome thing, yeah. Intention is wholesome, and the way that you get the things as a approved, or a way to realize that is to some help in a way that is not help by bribing, but a help by understanding the situation, yeah, and that is wholesome to do so. So then you can pursue. Yeah? So always check the underlying tendency, yeah. So whether it's a greed or non-greed, or ill will or non-ill will. Sometimes, you know, we may win, yeah, but then, you know, it will create unwholesomeness on the other side, and therefore the fight continue, you know. Although we win, you know, but then fight continue, you know, subtly lah. So we have to see lah what is the condition like, and whether it's worthy to pursue or not. Even sometimes we may give in, but it doesn't mean we give up. Yeah. So we may think it's unfair, but it may not in other perspective. Yeah. So we have to see what exactly it is. Sometimes certain things you can pursue because you are empowered to pursue. Sometimes if you are not, then we just let people who are in charge to carry on with that, their duty and responsibility to do something or to pursue on that matter. All right, I hope I answered some of the thoughts that you have. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much, Ayya. Yes.
Thank you, Ayya. Okay, now, okay. So now we also sadhu, and thank you very much to Ayya. Now we are going to end the session, and then let's play respect to the Triple Gen. To the Triple Gen by bowing 3 times first. Okay, come. Wait, my head. Okay, first bow, second bow, and the bow.